ages holiday pageant. Whoever you are, whatever your theological, spiritual, political, sexual, or racial orientation or gender identity, you are welcome to worship here and become a part of this community. Do we have any announcements this morning? As a reminder, I'll start. We will not have a Sunday service next week because we are going to be having our Christmas Eve candlelit service Monday evening. It's going to start at 5 p.m. with the North River Brass Quintet. You don't have to be there while they're replaying as people are coming in, but I highly recommend not missing it if you can. And then at 6 p.m., we'll have switched over to our candlelit Christmas Eve service. There also will not be a service on Sunday, December 28th. We typically take the Sunday between Christmas and New Year's off. And then we will be gathering, fully optional, for New Year's Eve potluck on December 31st. Should be easier date for me to remember. I don't know what's struggling with that. What time does that start? Anyone know?
I don't remember. It's like
8 a.m.?
No, it's like I think it's like mid-afternoon into the evening, but I could not tell you off the top of my head.
Doors will be open by 5.
Yeah.
At the latest.
You will receive an email invitation at some point soon.
Email invitation to follow.
We bring in London, so not the London side.
Well, yeah, we'll be gathering before that ball drops. Any other announcements? All right, then I will turn it over to our affiliate minister, Reverend Judith Campbell.
Good morning. It's a joy to be here. Welcome to our Merry Madness. Anything could happen this morning. We talked about holy mysteries and holiday miracles. It's all here. It's all here. Come into the circle of love and justice. Come into the community of mercy, wholeness, and health. Come and you shall know peace and joy. May it be so. Rick, would you light our chalice?
Please stand as you're willing and able. Recite with me the words found in the order insert for your order of service. Out of the darkness, light.
Out of the light, warmth. Out of the warmth, joy. Out of the joy, togetherness. May this flame hold us for the time we are here with one another.
Now please join me in the affirmation.
Love is the doctrine of this church, the quest for truth its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humanity in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with their divine, thus produce covenant with each other and with God.
On this third week of Advent, the waiting time in the Christian calendar, when we begin to anticipate the celebration of the birth of Jesus, we light a candle of joy with this prayer, which you can find in your insert if you follow along if you like, which recalls the Christian roots of our Unitarian Universalist faith. Beautiful Mother of Creation,
You who imbue every facet of this universe, the spark of all being, teach us to find joy. Help us to open our hearts wide enough to let in the wonder of miracles, the anguish of suffering, the blessings of compassion, the beauty of truth. Help us to know that our hearts and our fists are the same size, that the work of our hands must always be guided by the love of our hearts. Not only speak truth in the halls of power, but to sing out for the joy of change and of justice, in the true belief that someday this world can become a beloved community that holds us all in care. We light this candle of joy.
Please remain standing for opening hymn.
Number 244, It Came Upon a Midnight Clear. And for those of you that don't know it, this was written by a Unitarian, Unitarian, well, he was a Unitarian then. There is no mention of Jesus in this hymn. And if you go through all of the verses later on, go to the hymn book and look at them, it is a huge protest against war and man's inhumanity there. So on his Christmas Eve, when you talk about the Prince of Peace, it's a prayer for peace among nations and peace in our hearts. So 244. Wonderful.
Came upon a midnight clear, that glorious song of old. From angels standing near the earth, to touch their harps of gold. Peace on the earth, to all goodwill, of heaven news we bring. The world in solemn stillness lay, to hear the angels sing.
Please be seated.
"'Twas the night before Christmas" by Clement Seymour. 'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings opened by the chimney with care, and who to say Nicholas soon would be there. The children went also all scarf in their bed, while visions of sugar plum danced in their head. My heart and kerchief, and I and my cat settled out right for a long winter's nap. When out on the lawn there arose such a clatter, I sprang from my bed to see what was the matter. Way to the window, like a flash, threw open the shutters and threw up the sash. The moon on the breast of the new fallen snow gave luster of midday to rockets below. What to my wondering I should appear but a miniature sleigh, a tiny reindeer, a little old driver so lively and quick, the knew in a moment it might be singing morals and big eagles as close as they came. He whistled and shouted and called them by name. Now dashing, now dancing, now prancing, now vixen, now comet, now cupid, now downer and vixen, top of the window, top of the wall. Dash away all. And as wild leaves before the hurricane fly, mount with an obstacle, leap to the sky, up to the housetop, courses they flew, sleigh full of toys and St. Nicholas too. Then in a twinkling I heard on the roof the prancing and purring in his little hoop, turning my head and turning around. Down the chimney St. Nick came with a bound. dressed all in fur from his head to his foot. Clothes were all half tarnished with ashes and soot. Little packet toys slung on his back. Looked like a peddler just opening his pack. His eyes how they twinkle, his dimples how merry. No cheeks like roses, nose like a cherry. Little drawn mouth brought up in a bow. White tear on his chin was as white as the snow. He had a round face and a little brown belly. Shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. Fat, plump, right jolly old elf. I laughed when I saw him in spite of myself. Spoke not a word, went straight to his work. Filled all the stockings and turned with a jerk. Laying a finger aside his nose. Up of the chimney he rose. Sprang to his sleigh, to his team gave a whistle. Away they flew like the down of a thistle. Heard him say, before I lost sight, Happy Christmas to all a good night.
As you might have gathered, this is going to be a very different kind of service. Kids are already half dressed because they couldn't wait. But I'd like to invite the kids, all of the kids down here now. Costumed or not, come on. Okay. Why do we have Christmas? Anybody know? Absolutely. And do you know, because of the birth of Jesus? And do you know how many people don't even know that now? They think about this guy over here, Santa Claus. They think about presents. What do you know about Jesus?
Toys.
Toys, yeah, that's good. Yes, Tom?
He preached about like Judaism.
Well, he was a Jew, but he preached a God of love, about a God of love instead of a God of anger and hate. That's very, so you got it once again. This church hasn't had a Christmas pageant in a long time. And they were so excited they couldn't wait to get into their costumes. We were gonna have this wonderful costume change in a few minutes. Well, we'll still do it, but I said, if you want to get into your costumes, get into your costumes, because anything can happen today. So, people learn things. Okay, you have a costume, just 1 minute. People learn things by acting them out sometimes.
I do, but I let down the call.
Okay, well, you just wait 1 minute, I'll finish up and then you can go get your costume, okay?
Well,
So we are going to act out the story, the Christmas story, ourselves, so we'll know it better, okay?
Where's the Christmas story?
You're going to learn all about that. So my angels are over here. If you want to be an angel, and anybody out here who wants to be an angel, come down here. My kings, if you're going to be a king, go on up in that corner. Kings, Maggie, you're a king. Go be a king. Go be a king. You are the best shepherd in the world. Follow Jack if you want to be. We need more shepherds. And Mary and Joseph, that way. Now, while they're getting dressed, I'm going to ask Maddie to just kind of play a little background music. Oh, there's somebody over there. Are you a shepherd? Oh, be a shepherd. Would you like to be an angel? Come on down. I don't want to miss anybody. Do you want to be in it or just you want to watch? If Daddy comes down with you? That's okay, that's okay. Is there anybody here who isn't where they want to be? That, I take that back.
That's a much bigger
Boy,
question.
do I take that one back. Don't stop laughing, I'm a minister, you can't laugh. What I'd ask you to do while the kids are getting dressed is something we haven't done in here for a long time. Stand and greet, or lean over and greet your neighbors and say hi. We haven't done that for a Okay, are we dressed? Are we costumed up? Okay. Take a deep breath. Whoops. Yeah, you take that off. Or put that off. There you go. Once upon a time, a long time ago, in a little village far away, a young couple, a mother and a father, were expecting a baby. They didn't have much money, but they had enough food to eat and enough to buy hay for their little donkey. And they were able to have a simple house where they could live because Joseph was a carpenter and he spent his days making beautiful things out of wood. In those days, the Roman Emperor Caesar Augustus decided he wanted to know how many people were in his empire, and he wanted more money. He announced that everybody had to go back to the village when they were born and register with the officials. That way they could be counted and then they could be taxed. That way the crabby old emperor could keep track of everyone and make sure they did what they were told. He was not a nice man. So the mother and the father, Joseph and Mary, packed up what few things they had and saddled up the little donkey and packed up some food and water for her. Her name was Starlight, and set off to their hometown, which was called Bethlehem. You need somebody, need a costume here? We need a Joseph. Can you be Joseph? You want to be Joseph? We need a Joseph. We need a Joseph. Mike? Sure. What are you going to be, sweetheart? You're going to be an angel? Okay, we'll go get an angel instead. You don't want a costume? That's okay. Okay, we have a Joseph. You can, that opens up bigger too, I think, if you wanted to. Good. Talk about Christmas miracles. We're good now. So Mary, the mother, and Joseph, her spouse, packed up a few things for themselves, saddled up the donkey, her name was Starlight, and set off to their hometown, which was called Bethlehem in the land of Judea, so they could be taxed along with the others. It was a long trip. Now we can have Mary and Joseph slowly start down the aisle. Slowly, Mary and Joseph start down the aisle and stop halfway and look around as if they're, okay, you stop right there and you look around as if you're looking for a place to stay. It was a long trip, and by the time they got to Bethlehem, there were already so many people there ahead of them, there wasn't a single hotel room left in the whole town. And the mother was getting ready to have her baby. And as you can imagine, poor Joseph was getting desperate. can we all sing one verse of O Little Town of Bethlehem? You have it in your order of service, I believe. Do you not?
We did. It's 246.
246. Finally, a kindly innkeeper took pity on them and told them that if they didn't mind the animals, they could sleep in the barn, which was right next to the main house. And that's just what they did. Mary, the mother, and Joseph, the father, and the donkey went into the barn and made themselves as comfortable as they could, which was in fact pretty comfortable because of the animals. It was nice and warm. In the dark of the night, their baby, little Jesus, was born. And from the minute he opened his eyes for the first time and looked at his parents, they knew there was something different and something very special about this little child. But after the birth, Mary, the mother, and Joseph, the father, were tired, too tired to tell anyone about their baby. And so they curled up together in a nice warm straw. Everybody fell fast asleep. Starlight, the little donkey, stood watch for a little while, but eventually she too lay down beside the little family and went to sleep right next to them. It had been a long day for everyone. We're going to sing one verse of the first Noel, hymn number 237, and I'd like the shepherds to come. I love it. Starlight. We're going to have one verse of the first Noel, and the shepherds are going to come halfway down and stop, please. Okay? Meanwhile, on that same night, on a hillside outside of town, there were shepherds keeping watch over their flocks by night. They usually took turns sleeping, so someone was always awake and standing guard, and no harm would come to the animals. I'd like the angels to come around down the side aisle. All angels down the side aisle, and slowly walk up the middle of the front aisle. And you walk all the way up to the shepherds, and then you stop. Okay, come on up and stand there and stop. But the sheep were restless. Look at the shepherds. But the sheep were restless and uneasy that night, and they wouldn't settle down. And the shepherds didn't dare close their eyes, and that was a good thing, because out of nowhere, some figures clothed all in white, followed by several other figures also dressed in white, appeared in the distance and started walking towards them. And the shepherds were sore afraid and tried to hide. Now, angels, would you hold up your hands for a minute? Hold up your hands to the shepherds. To the shepherds. You're telling them something. Who were these strangers and what did they want? The shepherds didn't know, but they were a host of heavenly angels sent to tell them about the precious little baby that had been born that night. And then, when the shepherds calmed down and were ready to listen, the angel began to speak these words. Fear not, for unto you this day is born a child, and his name is Jesus. And one day he will change the world. And then the angels turned, and everybody slowly walked up to stand around the baby. The shepherds were all excited about what they just heard and agreed that they should go and see this wonderful little boy. But they had a problem. Somebody had to stay back with the sheep. So they agreed the biggest and strongest shepherd would stay back with the sheep, but the others would bring her back something nice to eat from the village. And let's say, okay, can I have a shepherd sitting down here? Let's have a shepherd over here. Okay, so we have him. Okay, excellent. Here we go. Can we sing one verse of hymn number 231? Angels we have heard on high. Go ahead, one verse. 231, I believe. Yeah, 231. It's 231. Doesn't matter. Nope. No, we're. That's all right. We'll get it next year. Mary, the mother, was still too tired to start the journey back to their own village, so they agreed it would be best for her to rest up for a few more days before starting back. Nobody asked the donkey, little Starlight, but if she could talk, she would tell them that she too needed to rest a little while. Will you play one verse of Silent Night? And please sing with me.
Silent night.
another land, even further away, there were some wise and kindly and important people going about their important business when they heard the news of the birth of this very special baby. And right after they heard about the baby Jesus, they saw an amazing star in the western sky, a star they had never seen before. And these people were astrologists and astronomers, and believe me, they knew their stars. They knew the place where the baby had been born was west of them. So they decided to follow the star and see if they could find him. But being kind and generous men they were, they stopped along the way and picked up some gifts of gold and frankincense and myrrh for the baby. They continued to follow the star, and lo and behold, it slowly took them right to where the baby and his parents and the donkey were resting in the barn. They stayed and visited for a little while and gave Mary and Joseph the gifts for the baby. And let's sing. And now we're going to sing one verse or two verses, depending if we need it, of hymn number 259, We Three Kings. Okay, will you guys turn around and sit so we can see Mary the baby?
Maggie, sit down.
Sit here. Okay. Turn around, sit down. Can you turn around, sit down, sweetie? So we can all see you. Oh, there we go. I hope you're getting pictures of and now is the time we're going to take up an offering, and we're going to sing one verse or two verses of 259, We Three Kings. This is so precious. This is the new Christmas story. This is us. This is your beloved community and its future. And you're doing wonderfully, angels and shepherds and kings and everything. I love them. After a while, it was time for the wise folks to go home, and for the shepherds to go back to their sheep, and for their angels to go back to heaven. Before they left, the angels suggested they take a different road home, one that was better lighted and less hilly and easier for Starlight to walk on, because now the little donkey was carrying a new mother and baby Jesus, and she knew she had a most special and wonderful responsibility to keep them all safe. In due time, everybody made it safely back to where they were supposed to go. The wise people went back to their kingdoms, the shepherds went back to their hillside, the angels floated off into the distance, and Mary and Joseph and the little baby Jesus and little Starlight started the long trek home in a world that would be forever changed by the baby they carry in their arms. And now, we can ask the children to walk slowly out into Terrace Hall and beyond into the break room for taking off the costumes while we finish. So nobody, and we'll sing it. What just happened here? It was wonderful. It was absolutely wonderful. And we got lots of you taking pictures, and I couldn't be happier. But years ago, when I was little, the church pageant was the high point of my liturgical year. That's when I got to dress up and be an angel. I was never nominated for the part of Mary because, they told me, I was always too loud, too fat, and not blonde. Still, I was the biggest and best angel ever, standing stock still in front of two enormous freestanding cardboard wings, wearing a diaphanous dress that my mother made me out of old window curtains. And believe me, for those 45 minutes, I was in heaven, and so was everybody standing there with me. This pageant was a production, that pageant, back in my childhood, was a production worthy of Hollywood, sort of. My gay friend Russ got to come out of the closet for a few minutes. Remember, this was the 50s. He played the part of one of the kings, and they were always kings in those days. Now we have wise women as well. Anyway, for one wonderful and magical afternoon, Russ could walk down the center aisle of the church, fully and beautifully made up, dressed to the nines in silk and velvet and bedazzled with rhinestones. And nobody pointed or whispered. It was Russ, for God's sake. Everybody knew Russ, but for him, it was a handmade day of grace and freedom from scorn. Choir kids in the youth group, known for their wild and colorful antics for that hour, were miraculously well behaved as kings and shepherds, innkeepers, and friendly beasts. For the whole 45 minutes, they lived into their respective parts, with nary a swear, a poke with a shepherd crook, or a well-practiced rafter-rattling bird, or worse. These are junior high kids. We totally rocked this thing. And then we grew up and put aside our childish ways. We got jobs and started our own families of any number of configurations. And the pageant costumes, once so lovingly created, never came out of the closet. And the world got busier and busier. Too busy with the getting and the spending of money for things like Sunday school picnics rather than church pageants. And then one day, in early December, somebody said, let's do something really different. Let's do a Christmas pageant this year. And the collective response was, eye roll. We don't have any costumes. We don't have enough kids. Nobody plays with dolls anymore, so we'll have to go out and buy a blonde white boy doll to be Jesus. And best of all, who is Christmas Carol anyway? Are there any Christmas Janes or Billies or Frankies? We haven't done one of these in years. Does anybody even remember how to do it? And all the people in the church grew sad and silent that night because they had no idea where to begin with so little time. No costumes, no baby Jesus, and not enough kids. We can do this, said the union minister. We are Unitarian Universalists. We are all-inclusive. We are multi-faith and multi-generational. We recycle. We make do and mend, and we have enough people in this church to take all the parts. And who says it's only kids that can be in a Christmas pageant anyway? And they were off and running. The impromptu pop-up Christmas pageant planners invited and included everyone who wanted to be part of it. And they didn't force anyone who didn't want to be part of it to do it. They had players who were grandparents, and they had toddlers holding tight to the hands of the parents and everything in and it was wonderful. It was chaotic, but it was full of wonder and joy, with plenty of charm and not a bit of calm, with lots of wondrous light and bright shining stars. People standing or sitting in chairs, people walking on their own, on 2 feet, people leaning on crutches or on canes, people who sang and people who listened. And everyone was a part of it. And it really was wonderful, maybe even miraculous. And I'm sure Jesus and his parents, if they could have come today, would have loved this. I know I sure did, and I hope you all did as well. In a few minutes, we'll go and have coffee and celebrate the holy, the silly, the sacred, and the goofy in one another. Blessed be. And our closing hymn is 245, Joy to the World. Let's sing 2 verses of it. Before I read the benediction, and we go out and have coffee, and I'm looking forward to that. I made 200 pieces of fudge the other day. They're in a basket along with recipes and some little snack bags, and I hope you'll take some of that fudge home with you as my sweet blessing to you. So, go in peace, live simply, at home in yourselves, act justly, speak justly, remember the depth of your own compassion. Forget not your power in the days of your powerlessness. Do not desire to be wealthier than your peers, and stint not your hand of charity. Practice forbearance, speak the truth or speak not. Take care of yourselves as bodies, for you are a good gift. Pray peace for all people in the world, beginning with yourselves. And as you go with the dream of that peace, and as you go with the dream of that peace alive in your heart. Blessed be.
Please remain standing with the extinguishing of the chalice on words in your insert, the order of service. We
Extinguish the flame, but not the light of truth, or the way. Needs we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
You can be seated, or you can start working your way back to the party. Good choice.